We're at the Noank shipyard where Bluenose has its offices in Connecticut. It's a nice March day, rainy, cold, foggy. Great day to look at boats. Hi, I'm Scott Rocknak and I'm on the Jeanneau 449 number 326. This boat just arrived to us, and today we're going to see a lot of plastic and boxes and things like that, but I want to give you a quick tour of what this boat looks like and explain the differences of the forward cabin versus, say, a couple of the smaller models. The boat has the standard interior where you have a small table on port and a table to starboard, and the table to starboard is the deluxe table that goes up and down. One of the things that you're going to notice that's slightly different from the 449, say, versus the 419 is the seat that I'm sitting on is actually longer in this version. The U-shaped settee is very similar to the other boats that are smaller, except that it's a little bit longer. The table is a little bit longer fore and aft. That makes a big difference. The storage is just a little bit longer in each cabinet. And this particular boat, the stock boat that we just got, is obviously a white interior, and this is a almost like a naugahyde type of material that you can spill things on and wipe it off immediately. So it's great if you have a young family, or maybe you're putting the boat into a charter service with our program, or you've got a pet. It's a very nice and easy material to keep looking the way it is now. This boat is set up to have a flat screen TV on the bulkhead. It's a nice little unit, and it comes all the way over and it faces in multiple different directions. One advantage of this is if you take this with the TV attached to it and face it at the seat that faces forward in the navigation area, you can use this as a second monitor for your laptop. The big difference between, say, the 419 or the 389 and the 449 is that the 449 makes up for all its extra length in the V-berth, with the exception of some changes to the seat lengths in the salon. So here we have a changing area that's forward of me with a seat and cabinetry up and down with a drawer. And then the berth itself is an island berth versus a V-berth. The shelf also extends to full length, so there's considerable more storage. The other thing we're going to see is the head has the shower stall is, well, first of all, there is one. The toilet itself is in the shower stall, but the sink is not, and there's a door that closes behind it. So it is a much larger head, larger V-berth with a changing area. And we still have the slides for the sides here for the side windows, which are fixed, and we have an overhead hatch here that has a sliding screen and a sliding shade. Here's an example of the forward changing area. There's a desk, pull-out stool, large cabinetry. There's also a little cabinet forward of the stool, storage underneath the V-berth, and again the full-length shelves that I mentioned going all the way around. There's a little bit of storage right there too. In the head itself, you can see that there's a glass partition here, and that separates the sink from the shower area where the head itself is. This particular boat has two symmetrical aft cabins of equal sized berths, equal storage, and similar engine access, which is really great on either side. The berths themselves are pretty wide. They're more than a normal full, sort of between a full and a queen. They have a good cabinet, nice shelves. They have windows on the side that open up, which I'll show you. And there's ventilation through the cockpit and overhead that can face forward. So if you open up part of the Dodger, wind will come right in here. The aft cabins have the side ports with the sliding covers. Again, they're fairly wide. There's lots of ventilation. That's the side, and then looking overhead is an opening port with a shade and a screen. The starboard cabin's virtually a mirror of the port cabin. The only really big difference is that you have your battery controls on the fascia panel here. The galley on the boat is an L-shaped galley, and it's a standard issue galley that comes with a 449. Not unlike the galley in the 419. It has a larger ice box, slightly larger ice box with an opening on the bottom, two square sinks, lots of storage. This one has a microwave. I also should mention that this boat has air conditioning as well, and it has the electric re-wind winches, which are really nice. Engine access is very good, like all the Jeanneaus. An opening forward section that you can get to many things on the engine. Here we have the secondary and the primary filters are right there. There's a raw water impeller, access to your alternator belt, oil fill, blower, things like that. The low section of the bilge that you can clean out. On the sides, in each aft cabin, is a hatch about this big that you can open up that gets to the top of the engine, so it's very good access. The port side head is also very similar to what you've seen in a couple of smaller models, with the exception that the shower stall itself is probably about that much longer forward and aft, and maybe about that much wider thwartship. So it is a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer for a liveaboard. So that's to my left, which is forward, and there's a door here, and I'll show you that. And then after here, to use the head like the other boat, you just close the door, and behind the door is a nice size head with plenty of knee room because it would come all the way out towards the shower. Here's a shower stall on the port side of the boat. And there's a plastic door that shuts this section off from the rest of the head. The head itself is in its own little area, and it's near the sink. Ventilation of the head is handled by the opening port here. The galley has ventilation over the stove with an opening port. Like the other boats, the battery controls have a negative shutoff, which is unusual and needed, especially for winter storage. Batteries are underneath of both berths aft. The aft cabin overhead hatches open, and they open facing forward, and they have a shade and a screen. And the nice thing about that is if you open up your Dodger window and open up the hatch, you force air into this cabin like a ram. It's raining outside. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not, but it's very quiet and comfortable inside the boat. Even without a Dodger, the companionway hatch is somewhat vertical, and just with the plexiglass top closed, I'm keeping the companionway steps dry. That's just footprints coming in. It's pouring rain outside, and I'm in here in the boat, and I wanted to show you with a longer seat in the 449 like this, I can actually kind of lounge in it, and it's not hard to be in a situation where you're reading a book, or I could sit forward here, have a light on a book, or I can have a laptop going and be comfortable aboard this boat in inclement weather. The boat is also set up so you can have one person facing one direction and another person facing the other and still be able to work. There's good storage here. There's storage behind these cabinets. A little bit of a space here for things like pencils or other small items that just won't roll away. But here's a quick scan of the deck of the 449. Big thing about this boat over others and the other ones that I've shown in video is this one has the reversing electric winches. Very nice feature.